Oh, hello guys, and welcome back to another video in our channel. Today we're going to do a preview of the hectic Premier League clash that is going to happen this weekend. And this is the clash between Chelsea and Manchester City. And Chelsea will be traveling away to Manchester City, a very difficult place to go, and a game that is poised against Chelsea. So, Pep Guardiola is going to meet Maurizio Pochettino again. The last time these two teams played, it ended in a 4-4 very entertaining game that Cole Palmer managed to give Chelsea a draw towards the end. But at the Etihad, it's a very different game. The odds are against Chelsea and the odds are in huge favor for Manchester City, and we are going to know why. So we know very well that Manchester City are the benchmark. Manchester City are the best team in the country. And Manchester City with Pep Guardiola have set the standards as the clear favorites to win the Premier League again this season. So Pep Guardiola has redefined his team, possession-based, and teams that control majority of games. But recently we've seen the best of Manchester City. And this can be attributed with the return of the in-form Kevin Debruyne. Debruyne, who was injured in the majority of the season, looks to be back, looks to be very strong, and looks to be quite ready. And he has that killer instinct against Chelsea, always providing a goal and an assist against Chelsea. Also to add to this is the return of form of Erling Haaland. Midweek, he scored a very amazing bicycle kick against Copenhagen, and the Norwegian is looking to be back to his best, and this is going to bring a lot of problems for Chelsea, considering Chelsea are missing key players. So Chelsea are going to go into a very difficult game. I actually believe this is so far the most difficult game they are going to play this season. And why is this? They are going to play an in-form Manchester City, and Chelsea are plagued with injuries, especially at the back, with Badiashile and Thiago Silva being all out. So Mauricio Pochettino is being faced with a very huge conundrum. He's going to field in a team of inexperienced individuals against a very elite European side. Chelsea, who was destroyed by Liverpool and Wolves, will be playing after a very tough opponent. So my pick in goal is Petrovic. Petrovic has not put any foot wrong and is more likely to retain his position as the #1 goalkeeper in this game. Then we're going to go on to the fullbacks area. So the fullbacks area as well is going to be Malo Gusto and Ben Chilwell. So we don't have a choice because both fullbacks are injured, though Reece James is looking to be back in training, but he's not fit enough to even make the bench for this game, and therefore we will just have to rely on Gusto and Chilwell, who are quite decent. Now let's move on to the centre-back pairing, and Disasi retains his position with Colwill coming in. Here's where I have a problem because I have slightly trust issues with Colwill as left-sided centre-back, but he says that is his best position, so we hope that they will have a good game against an elite forward. I'm going to go with our midfield three, a flat midfield three. Conor Gallagher down the right, Enzo down in the middle, and Enzo Fernandez down the left. So this midfield is more going to work like more of a counter-pressing midfield, a midfield that is going to work out of possession more rather than in possession. And this is because Manchester City always wins this midfield battle, so you need to be strong there. Then I'm going to go with the front three of Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, and Christopher Nkunku. And we're going to play with a narrow front three with Palmer and Nkunku looking to play quite close to Jackson, and the width will generally be obtained from the flying fullbacks. So I'm going to explain how Chelsea can set themselves up in this game to try at least and generate something in this tough game. Before we even begin our analysis, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. So First of all, we need to understand that in this game, Chelsea will not have the ball most of the time. Manchester City will dominate possession. Chelsea will also be in the defensive mode majority of the time. Manchester City are flying and Chelsea are currently in a very difficult position, especially their away form. So Manchester City like to build up by having Ederson playing as an extra centre-back with Ruben Diaz playing alongside him. And since John Stones has returned, we are going to see a more traditional Manchester City build-up where they like to form the box midfield early on. So when Chelsea decide to press Manchester City aggressively high up the pitch, this is going to play very well for Manchester City. And this is how it's going to play for them, because they can stagger their lines in midfield, and either Stones or Rodri can receive the ball directly from the centre backs and look to use their midfield overload to play through Chelsea's front and midfield line. And this might have Debruyne having time and space to turn with the ball to pick Manchester City attackers. So, Mauricio Pochettino already knows that Manchester City are very excellent in playing through the lines, and they are very excellent in creating these 5v4 situations at the back. So, another thing that Chelsea need also to be keen is that if they decide to press, then De Bruyne can also use his intelligence to be dropping in the pockets of spaces to receive the ball, and this can create a 2v1 against Chilwell, who can be caught up whether to pick Foden or try to pick De Bruyne. This can give De Bruyne the space to play in Erling Haaland, who can have a clear run on goal, and if you give Haaland this space, you're already 1-0 down. Now, we are going to still go to talk about the Manchester City build-up, and if Colwill decides to push forward to try and press De Bruyne, and Chelsea decide to go man-to-man at the back, then Ederson can still use his excellent passing accuracy and try to play the ball to Haaland, who can lay it to Bernardo Silva, and then now Manchester City can be looking to advance with as many as 5 players against Chelsea's backline. So in whichever way Chelsea decide to press Manchester City high, Manchester City know how to break this press, and this was aided with Haaland coming in. Now, in more settled phases of possession, Manchester City will shift into a more back three with maybe John Stones or Akanji coming in midfield. So if Chelsea decide to press all the 3 centre backs, this will deny them an opportunity to dictate the tempo of the game. But Pep Guardiola usually asks Ederson to come slightly forward so that he can receive the ball and attempt to play those penetrative balls behind Chelsea's high defensive line. And this is going to give Chelsea a lot of problems, especially when Ederson decides to push forward. Now, another thing is that if Chelsea decide to sit deep and allow Manchester City's centre-backs time on the ball, then they can immediately launch the ball in the wide areas where De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva can try to create 2v1s against Chelsea's fullbacks. Remember, Chelsea are playing with a back 4. And this can give Chelsea a lot of problems, since if a winger drops deep to receive the ball, he can pull out a fullback, then immediately allow Manchester City to have these half-space runs that Guardiola asks De Bruyne to usually make. Those half-space runs are what make Manchester City so potent in their attack, how they're able to manage these situations on the pitch. Now, Chelsea can either decide to sit in a 4-5-1, but if they decide to sit in a 4-4-2, which will be great for them, then with a 4-4-2, they're able to control both the center and the wide areas. And the 2 forwards need to be quite aggressive, working as a piston. They need to be constantly pressing the center backs and denying them time and space, especially the center backs in the middle, while the wide midfielders should be shifting across to press advancing centre-backs so as to force Manchester City to play the ball sideways. And if the ball is shifted immediately down the other side, Chelsea should also be so quick to try and move their team from this side to the other side of the pitch. Now, the situation where Chelsea are going to find themselves is initially Manchester City will dominate possession to a point where Chelsea will have to retract towards their own defensive third. And this is because Manchester City will know how to build through from the back all the way to the forward lines. And when their wingers receive the ball and look to be pushing to draw in a fullback, then Enzo Fernandez should be keen, together with Conor Gallagher, to shift across to try and cover this half-space channel to allow the centre-backs to deal with Erling Haaland, because you can't leave Erling Haaland to be dealt with one centre-back, especially with the absence of Thiago Silva. Chelsea should also try to win the ball quick in transition, and this is where the strength of Jackson comes in, because Jackson knows how to hold up the ball and try to give the team time so that the team can create good and excellent counter-attacking situations. The hold-up play of Nicholas Jackson will be quite important, since now he can hold the ball up and look to try to have players such as Palmer or Conor Gallagher receives the ball, and the Chelsea can look to advance forward. Now, Chelsea's build-up needs to be different. And how different can this be? We know that Manchester City like to press in a 4-4-2 diamond. And this diamond kind of pressing system is very intense. It's a system where it is very difficult to try and beat. So what Chelsea can do is Conor Gallagher can push forward, and Enzo Fernandez or Caicedo can drop in the back line, who are more comfortable on the ball. Look to receive the ball directly from the goalkeeper and look to try to build down the right, where the Disasi can shift at the right back position. Look to play Gusto, who will be occupying the right wing, and this might have Gusto having space on the ball where he can play 1-2s with either Conor Gallagher or Cole Palmer. This can see Chelsea progress from their defensive phase to their more attack-minded phase. Now, in the few instances that Chelsea will be dominating possession against Manchester City, this is what they're supposed to do. They're first of all supposed to make themselves shift into a more solid system. We saw in the game against Palace, Caicedo dropping time and time again in between the two centre-backs. Now, when he drops in between the two centre-backs because Manchester City press with a front two out of possession, Nkunku and Cole Palmer can move into the half-space regions where both of them like to operate, and Conor Gallagher can drop slightly deeper alongside Enzo Fernandez so that Chelsea can have that 3 to 5 in attack. The fullbacks being more aggressive to give the width and give the attacking dynamic, while the two midfielders looking to play just in front of the 3-man defense so as to give Chelsea solid structure while attacking. This can give the likes of Palmer and Nkunku space to attempt shots on goal. Another thing is that having these two players in this middle part of the pitch might give Chelsea strength, and even when Chelsea lose possession and Manchester City will be looking to counter press, Chelsea can win the ball quick enough and immediately continue with their attack. So Mauricio Pochettino is facing the best manager in world football and the best team currently in world football. Manchester City are on quest to reclaim the Premier League title. After they play their 2 games in hand, they will be in the lead, the top of the Premier League table. And this will put them in a very favorable position where Guardiola likes his team to be. Chelsea, on the other hand, are going into this game with all the odds stacked against them. Thiago Silva is not fit. He's not going to play. Badiashile is not available. Cucurella is not available. Reece James is not available. And you don't know whether players such as Sterling can play, because I think he has lost, and there's also rumors that he will be leaving Chelsea. So this is a game that Chelsea is going to have an inexperienced team facing one of the most experienced and established teams in Europe. How Mauricio Pochettino sets up his team will determine if Chelsea will get a result. What are your score predictions for this game? Honestly, I don't believe that Chelsea are going to win this game. So if I'm predicting this score, I'm going to go probably with 3-0. I'm going to go with a 3-0 Manchester City, and this is because I am trying to be more lenient for Chelsea. But if Chelsea play the way they played against Liverpool and Wolves, then the score can actually be far worse. The score can be extremely worse. Even the score can even go up to 6-0 or 7-0. It's just how strong and powerful Manchester City are at the moment, and how strong and powerful the likes of Kevin Debruyne, Rodri, and all the other players who Manchester City lacked are back into the starting 11. So thanks for watching, and see you again. You can drop your score predictions in the comments area.